Thanks, Mary, for completing the Strength and Difficulties questionnaire. I can see there are a few questions you've answered that will fit with you coming on Break for Change. I've got a slightly longer assessment form that I'd like to complete with you. You may feel I'm asking very similar questions in a slightly different way.
Okay.
So is that correct? You're Mary Jones?
That's right, yeah.
And you're 26 or 773?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Can I just ask, do you have a partner?
Yes, I have. He's fairly new to the kids, but we've only been together now for 18 months.
Okay, what's his name?
Joe.
So how does Joe get on with Sam and the two younger children?
Sam resents him sometimes when he's trying to lay down the law with him, but generally the two girls get on really well with him.
Good. So does Sam see his biological dad very much?
He does, but it's on and off at times. We separated about 8 years ago. Sam was 8 and we separated nearly 6 years ago. And the girls were quite small at the time.
I'm just going to start the form, and what I want to do is get an understanding who's around that can support you while you're going through the programme. So I'm going to draw a circle, and I'm going to put you in the middle of the circle. So I'd like you to tell me who would be the closest person to you to be able to support you.
My mum. Sam listens to my mum, and he's pretty good. She's pretty good with him.
Okay. And is your dad still around?
He is, but he's less patient, and he's still one of these guys that believes you can give a kid a good clip round the ear roll and get a response out of them.
Okay.
But he never hit us.
So your dad, you'd say, was quite strict?
Yeah, he was, but you kind of knew when he was angry with you. He'd shout. He was a shouter, so you knew then you were in trouble.
Right. So we've got your mum, and your dad's still around, although he won't be. He'll be supporting your mum rather than supporting you on some level. How does he get on with Sam?
Yeah, okay, yeah.
So it's really useful for me to know for the group. Thank you. So we're going to move on now just to have a look at Sam's behaviour towards you.
Okay.
Certainly over the last 6 months. And would you say that he'd kicked, slapped or punched you?
Yeah, he does.
Okay, so could you tell me when that's happened?
Usually when I've asked him to do something to help me.
Actually punched you or?
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes he'll throw things, or he quite likes to take my personal things and damage them, or maybe his sisters. He'll deliberately break them, which is.
So can you tell me the last time he did that?
Probably a couple of weeks ago.
Okay. So do you know what sort of started that off really?
Yeah, he'd just come in from school and I was asking him to do something, and as usual he just started calling me names, swear words, refusing to do what I told him to do, and I went over to talk to him a bit closer and he just lashed out, which was horrible and not very nice.
No, sure. And is that fairly normal for the way he would react really?
Yeah.
So what would you normally do at a time like that?
I tried not to shout, I tried to stay calm, but it's difficult sometimes. And sometimes I find walking away and just leave him for a few minutes and he'll go off to his room and it'll be okay.
When he calmed down a little bit?
After he's calmed down, yeah.
Does he ever come back and apologise or?
Never.
No? So would you ever go up and see that he's okay?
Sometimes, but sometimes I'm feeling quite hurt myself, quite angry,
Yeah, sure.
and maybe just think it's best to leave him to it for a while.
Called you names. Has he ever threatened to kill anyone else in the family?
He has made threats in the past, yeah.
Me too.
Probably his dad, but because he doesn't see him as often, it's not as bad as it is with me.
Did he ever threaten to run away?
Yeah, he has done.
He has done.
Yeah.
And he has run away?
Yeah, not for very long.
Okay. Did he come back on his own or did you have to call the police? Or?
I called the police and they brought him back.
Okay. Were they okay? Was he sort of quite frightened he had the police come round or?
No, not really bothered, but he did stay when he came back, but he wasn't scared by it, or even though I said I was worried about him. And
Yeah. So have you had to call the police any other time?
I probably should have, but I haven't.
Okay.
When he smashed stuff up, and I've been quite scared.
Okay. So have you said that you would, but didn't actually do it?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. That's good to know, because we sort of deal with that on the programme, really.
Okay.
Has he ever threatened to phone social services on you?
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
think a lot of kids think that they can just do that, and it's funny.
Has he stolen any of yours or any other members of the family's money?
Yeah, yeah. He thinks nicking stuff is okay as well. Doesn't think about having the money to replace those things.
You never think about calling the police for that?
No.
No. So how would you deal with that?
I've asked him to return it, and usually he denies that he's taken it, and that makes me quite angry and upset. But no, I've not thought about calling the police. Perhaps I should really, but
Yeah, it's a difficult one, isn't it? So have you ever had to incur any debt because of him stealing the money or stealing other things or breakages?
yeah, from time to time. But I usually borrow it from Mum,
Okay.
but she's getting on a bit, and I don't like to keep asking her for money because she struggles. And it's a bit embarrassing when I have to tell her that her grandchild's it's because he's stolen stuff out of the house. But she does help us out a lot.
What did she say about that?
She is upset about it as much as I am. She thinks that I'm not as strict with him as maybe I could be, and she has told me that I should really call the police.
So would she support you by not giving him any pocket money or whatever if she knows that he's stolen?
She will, but it's on and off, and I think sometimes he can twist around a little finger a little bit.
Yeah, it's a difficult role as a grandparent, isn't it, really?
Yeah,
Because you only want to see the best, really.
yeah.
Did you ever, Sam, ever demand that you buy things that actually you can't afford?
Yeah, pretty much like most kids today, really. If the Xbox is broken, he just thinks I can magic up 400 quid or whatever to go and get a new one. And usually he doesn't like it when I tell him that I can't. But I do, because I want my kids to have nice things, I do try as much as possible to buy things when I can. But
Yeah.
he's not great at understanding. When I tell him no, he doesn't like being told no.
Does he have any understanding that if you spend that money, then you haven't got money either for food or for the other kids or whatever?
He's
so you
not
get that?
interested. He
get it?
doesn't listen. He won't. I tried to explain that to him, and he just thinks that I'm, making excuses, and that upsets me.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Mm.
Yeah. How would your partner support you with that?
He's quite good. He wants to be a bit more strict than maybe I am, but I think it can be difficult for him because they don't know him as well.
Yeah.
So we do argue sometimes about what I'm doing and what he's doing. So we don't always agree, but he thinks that I should not give him pocket money or take the pocket money away.
Okay. So would you, if I was to say to Sam, would he say that you're a bit of a soft touch?
Probably.
Yeah. Do you do it for a quiet life?
Sometimes.
How long does a quiet life last?
Yeah, good question.
So just a couple of bits about your relationship with Sam. Partly because part of the programme is about you building a different and a better relationship with Sam, that you can both sit down and talk and maybe agree some stuff, really. So would you say that Sam cooperates with you at all?
Probably not as often as I'd like, but he can be good when he tries.
So if I put neither agree or disagree, is that would...
Yeah, it's a bit of both. Yeah.
Do you get a chance to spend any time together?
Not very much, but he doesn't. It's not cool to be hanging out with your mum, is it really? So he if I offer, doesn't seem keen on the idea, so I tend not to bother.
Would you say you spend more time with the younger ones then?
Yeah, I think they need me a little bit more because they're still quite little. I think Sam does get that, but sometimes I feel a bit guilty because, you know, he still probably needs his mum as well. But
And that's a hard thing, isn't it, when you're sort of parenting on a bit of guilt, really.
yeah,
That's why you end up soft touch sometimes. Is that
right,
you give him maybe earlier than you would have under other circumstances.
right, yeah.
How often would you say that Sam actually can control his temper?
How much? It's not great. He gets angry quite quickly, and I think then it takes quite a long while to calm down. So yeah, it's not able to do that very well.
So is that mostly at home, or does that happen at school as well?
I think more at home. Mm.
And more with you than with Joe?
Yeah, I think it's a mixture. Joe probably gets more verbals because I think he does resent him being there a little bit. So I think it probably feels worse than it does for me. I feel like I'm kind of used to it a bit, but Joe, I think, gets it a bit more.
Would you say that Sam ever takes responsibility for what he does?
Not really.
No.
No, he doesn't really care. As long as he gets what he wants and he's got his Xbox and his money, then he's kind of happy with that.
Do you tend to blame other people?
Oh, Sam?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's usually my fault, or we're not as well off as other kids that he hangs around with, and they get more pocket money or they can stay out late.
I know it's quite difficult, isn't it, when different parents have different rules.
Yeah.
Because you always can quite often be put in the bad place. The bad mum.
Yeah, I am quite a bit.
Would you say Sam's quite loving and helpful to the two younger girls?
He can be. He does obviously care about them, but I think when he's not, if he's getting angry or when he's not getting what he wants, he has kicked the older one before because she got something that he wanted. But and he has broken some of their toys from time to time. But there is a caring big brother.
So it has got a nice side as well. The other side we're going to see.
Can be. I just wish I'd see it a bit more often than I do.
Okay. Do you think he ever is able to express his feelings other than being angry and trashing the house or whatever? Does he ever say he's happy, sad, mad, glad?
No, it's rare. I'll get a cuddle, but it's rare. Generally, I think that might be part of the problem, that he just can't talk to me, or he doesn't want to tell me if there's anything going on, so I find it quite difficult to get him to sit down in the first place, but we don't talk as much as I would like us to.
So when would you cuddle up together?
It's usually maybe if he's come in from school, or is a bit more chilled out on the weekend and he's been out having a nice time. He'll sometimes come back when I'm cooking dinner and just give me a quick hug, and that's quite nice.
Yeah, that's really nice. Sam ever drink alcohol?
Not really sure. He says he doesn't, but I know lots of kids are down the park on a Friday, and I've been past there occasionally and seen other young people there. I haven't seen him, but I think he probably does. We all did it when we were a bit younger, didn't we? So I won't be surprised.
I asked because you said about that you feel he might smoke weed, which is sort of the next bit really, using drugs.
I know he does.
Has he got an older peer group then?
They're a little bit older.
Okay.
Yeah, but I know he does smoke cigarettes, which he knows I don't like, and he has said that he's going to try and give up. But when I ask him about weed, he just denies it or tells me that I don't know what I'm talking about, or so I can't really get a straight answer out of him for that one. Yeah.
Do you smoke, Mary?
I do, yeah, unfortunately, yeah.
So does he take your cigarettes?
I haven't really noticed that, but he might do now and again. Maybe I just don't pick up on it.
Would you give him any cigarettes if he gets angry?
No, I won't. He's asked me, but I won't.
Okay.
No.
That's good. Do you think that the more stressful it's get, the more you drink?
On occasion, yeah.
Okay. You feel you're able to sort of handle that, contain it?
Yeah, pretty much. And I have to get up early with the two little ones, so I don't want to get up with a banging head the next morning.
What about Joe? Do you think, does he drink more than you?
Not a massive drinker.
Or? Okay.
No.
Are you under the GP at all at the moment? Are have you been to the GP through stress, depression?
No, not depression. Maybe mention when I've been quite stressed, when Sam's kicking off, if it's happened quite a lot, and he's just spoken to me about that and how I'm feeling about that. And I mention it to Joe and Mum as well. So I feel that it doesn't get worse. I just have bad days and good days.
Have you ever tried to self-harm?
No.
No? That's good. Do you feel when you're sort of walking around home and Sam comes out, you walk around in eggshells? Are you a bit worried about what you say?
Can be at times. If he's come through the door in quite a bad mood, I'll say to Joe, leave him to calm down for sort of 5 or 10 minutes before, if we need to ask him anything, because that's usually where it all blows up. So it can be awkward sometimes. Again, I think Joe kind of is trying to get to know him a little bit more, so he'll listen to him less, rather than if I try and say something to him. It's a bit easier, and he'll accept it a bit more from his mum. So,
Do you think Joe might come along to the group?
yeah, I think he would. I think I need to talk to him a little bit more about it, and if we can get someone to look after the kids, because that might be a problem.
If you come on the programme, what would you like to get out of the programme?
I'd really like to go with my partner, but for the violence from Sam to just stop, and the abuse and the horrible stuff that is happening at home. I just want that to stop.
Yeah, I'm absolutely sure. And I think you'd be really good if you come on the programme. I think it really do you good, and I think it'd be great if your partner come as well. And if Sam can come to young people's group, I think as a whole family you get a really lot out of the programme.
Yeah, great. Okay, thanks a lot. Cheers.